Hello and welcome. In this video we're going to take a look at this TEAC reel-to-reel. It's an A-3400 and I bought it from eBay, so who knows what I've got. All I know is it's faulty. The only thing I've done to this so far is I have put a new 13 amp plug on it because the one that was on it when it came was scary to say the least. So this is the first power up. So let's see what it does. Okay, we're getting nothing. Let's knock the cover off there because I have took it off to clean the heads. Okay, so we have to hold this switch up here to activate it. So we've got fast forward. Well, let's have another go at this. This is a TEAC A-3400 reel-to-reel. I've just done an intro on it and just gone through the basics, and the batteries in that went flat, so there was no speech. So what I've discovered so far is you need to hold that up for it to work. We've got fast forward, rewind, it'll go into record and it'll go into play. However, there's no capstan motor. So what we're going to do, I think, that looks like the belt could be off that maybe, is let's take this round, have a look in the back, take the back off it and have a look, see what's going on there. So this is a purchase off that well-known auction website. It was sold as non-working. The only thing I've done so far with it is change the 13 amp plug because it had got an old rubber one with uninsulated pins and the pins were going in all sorts of weird directions. So I put a decent plug on it. So I think first things first, let's take the back off it. That's interesting. These screws here are longer. I think it was meant to have some sort of spacers on it, especially, I don't know whether you can see on the camera, there's a bit of a shadow there and a bit of a shadow there. So I assume that was designed to keep it away from the wall. Mind my fingers, this thing's still on. Okay, straight up. There's no belt on it. So the belt's missing off here. Let's just put this into play mode. And I'm going to put my finger on the motor. There's nothing there. The motor's not turning. So there's a further fault with this. So as we can see, somebody's been in here with a non-ideal screwdriver and has nailed up these fixings here. There is no belt on it at all. So we'll have to find a belt for it. Perhaps we should do that as a first job. What I'm going to do as well is we'll just probe these connectors here in a minute. We'll have a look at this power supply on the side here for the motors. I have had a little bit of a look at the circuit diagram, and there should be a voltage on a terminal over here. So when we look in the back here, this board over the right hand side is the capstan motor supply. So I'm just going to pop a meter onto here, onto this bottom pin. This should have a 50 volt supply on it. Sorry, 24 volt. So between there and the chassis, there's nothing. I've had a quick look. There's two switches down here that turn the supply on and off. One does some of the electronics, the other one does the capstan motor. Now there's two terminals on here. The top terminal comes from the power supply. The bottom terminal on the switch goes to this white wire over here. So let's see if we've got power going into that switch. There we go, 28 volts. Do you know what? I suspect that switch is faulty, and that's why we're not getting any capstan motor power. So let's fold this out down here. We'll put a belt on the capstan and we'll have a look at that switch assembly. So all I'm going to do is remove these screws on here and just be a little wary that there may be some mains voltage about in here. There's not, it's not too bad. This is the mains supply. So I'm going to just pop this off. Let's take this bracket off here and have a look to see what we've got behind here. Fortunately, whoever nailed that up hasn't done a bad job of it. So will the capstan come out? No, it won't. We're going to have to give that a bit of a clean. Let's try and take these switches off. First thing I'm going to do, unplug it. So let's have a look and see what we've got down here. So as we can see here, on here, there's some detritus, and these are the micro switches in question. I'm not 100% sure how this assembly is held together. Hopefully this doesn't end up in tears. Okay, that switch is onto there. Let's see if we can just get the switch. Oh, okay. So there's a spacer here behind this. Let's lift that out. The micro switch isn't clicking. So, yeah. We could be onto something here. Now I know that this micro switch is working because the other motors are actuating. So let's have a little look here at this. It's an Omicron. So I think what we need to do is let's unsolder that. Just get the meter on beep test between there and there. Ah, there we go. It's not working all the time. So hang on, that's working. If I plug this in now, am I going to get the motor running? Yes. Sometimes. It's kind of working, sometimes not others. So that micro switch is definitely playing up. Part of me is like, is it underrated? Do I need a bigger one? But here's the truth of the matter. It's been in there for the last however many years, and it's took 30 or 40 years to fail. So is it really important? 5 amp at 125 volts. Let's see if we can find a replacement. So I've got a replacement micro switch. This is the difference. Original, replacement. You can actually hear the mechanism working in it. So let's solder these two wires back onto here, and then we'll put it back in place and see what happens. Right, now obviously I'm going to need to clean this, but for the purpose of testing, I have a belt here. I don't know whether it's going to fit. It's for an Akai. So let's just put it over the motor shaft. Do you know what? I can't moan at that, can I? Yeah, I'm slightly impressed by that. I'm just making sure it's unplugged before I come anywhere near it with the soldering iron, because my soldering iron is earthed. And if this was earthed, or one of, you know, it could mean that one of these wires is a higher voltage than earth, so I could end up blowing things up. So let's not do that. Right. You sit there. So we've got a shorter wire and a longer wire. Let's put the shorter wire to there. Okay, let's put the longer wire. Yeah. Onto there. Okay, let's put some power into this bad boy and see if we get a capstan motor. So we'll know in a second if we've won. Okay, so with the micro switches pressed, as you can see, the motor's running. So that says to me we've been successful in finding the fault. So I'm going to take this belt off here, because as you can see there's gunk on here. I don't know what it is, so we're going to want to clean that. And obviously we want to put this back together here, so that then will work. We'll lift up into tension and turn the motors on and off. As we can see here, it comes round, turns the motors on, turns the motors off. So yeah. I kind of feel as though there's a lot of movement in that potentially shouldn't be in that. Plus that doesn't look very good. So somebody messed with this and actually caused it to cease to function. That's a good question. Let's ignore this for a moment. I think I'm going to put a bit of insulation tape around the two of these. Pop the belt on and let's see if it will actually play. Now, when I was saying about the movement on that, I think that's too much. And maybe I've just changed the micro switch and it wasn't the fault. However, it's good to have changed it. I've had a look to see if I can actually take the capstan out, and I can't see any way of doing it, so I'm going to leave it alone. I've adjusted that and brought that back where it should be. Let's put this lot back together. This was like this, with the spring that's got a tuck in. That went onto there. This switch here is obviously going to go on like that. And then we've got this here, which is some sort of spacer. Oh, I see, it's going to sit like that. And now it goes underneath there. Okay. So, let's just make sure I don't lose the spring. And put that into some sort of neutrally position. And somewhere around here, up here, look, somewhere, this is going to screw back into place. Okay, there's one screw. There's another screw. So as you can see now, as that comes round, that's going to switch both of them back on. And then the end of this spring here was hooked through here like this to provide tension. Now what I'm doing, I'm just putting it back in where it had previously been. I don't know what we're going to use to get this off. What I'm going to start with is just a cloth with some isopropyl alcohol in it. And I'm just rubbing it backwards and forwards. And you know what? The stuff's balling up on my fingers. Okay. Let's give that another try. Put some more fresh on. See, I don't really want to take anything like sandpaper or anything like that to it. Not really working. Let's just try a this is a nice flat edged piece of metal. It's obviously that's made quite a bit of difference. And let's get a bit of alcohol on it again. That's better. That feels better. I don't know what that was that was built up on there. Some sort of residue from the belt. Okay, let's give that a try. That looks a lot better. The capstan motor, interestingly, hasn't got any crud on it. So let's put that over there. Let's put that over there. I've just noticed that's loose, so let's tighten that back up. Put this bracket back in place. I've finished with the alcohol, so that's cool. And it's going to be one of those days where we're going to have the phone ganging up on us. Okay, let's just tighten that up nicely and firmly. And yeah, I wonder if this will work. We'll spin it round. I'm just going to put the screws back in the back here. Well, at least one, because I don't want this flapping about. Okay, let's turn this round and we'll have a look from the front. Okay, we've got a capstan motor there. Both speeds are working. So let's put some tape on this and see what we get. Put tape on it, let's see what happens. Okay, we've obviously got some sort of issue here with this, because we've just lost the capstan motor. It was running a second ago. It just seemed to... I wonder if it's a switch. There's still something going on with there. It's not this, because... Where is it? Look at that. Touching that. So got some sort of random issue there. On high speed it seems to be running the majority of the time. So there's something going on around there with the capstan. It does appear that this switch here may be playing up a little bit. So I think next thing to do is we'll give that a clean with a bit of switch cleaner and see what difference that makes to the world. The capstan motor is stopping and speeding up and slowing down as we saw. So the next thing we're going to do is have a look at the motor speed control. I've just put a voltmeter on the input and it's sitting constantly at 26 volts even when the motor comes to a stop. So I think the problem is either somewhere around the speed control device or the electric motor itself. So we'll dig into that. I'm going to spin the machine round and we'll take a look. It's been about a week since I recorded the first part of this. I've not really done a lot with this, but I have shuttled a couple of tapes backwards and forwards that I was checking over. Interestingly, some of the speed fluctuation issues have settled off. Now, what I think we may have done is there may have been some switch cleaner soaked into this high-low switch in the interim. So we'll still have a little poke around and a measure because it's still not right. So I'm going to set it up. We'll play a bit of a recording on it and see how that's going, and then move on from there. Okay, so what I've got set up on this now is I've got a set of PC speakers on here, so hopefully that'll sound a bit better than that rather dreadful little Bluetooth speaker that I was playing with, because it just doesn't do any justice at all. So let's slice this up. We're on low speed, the capstan is running, so okay, now one of the things I'm noticing here is, I don't know whether you can see it well, the left meter has got a reasonable signal on it, which is this. But the right meter is a little quiet in comparison. Now, it could be that I've done that when I recorded it and I've messed up the recording, but we'll come back and experiment with that. But this is now playing on low speed, but I think that's a bit slow. Okay, I found the original source. This is it. Let's swap over to this. Right, that indicates that either the machine that I recorded the tape on was running fast, or this machine is running slow. Now, as we've been having problems with the capstan with it, I'm more of the thought that this is running slow. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little look for some other tapes that I've got that have come from the BBC that are pre-recorded, and they are the stuff that you would know. You know, there's things like the police YouTube and stuff like that on it, and the police meatloaf and things like that. Now obviously I can't play that on YouTube. I might be able to play a couple of seconds, so I'm going to grab one of those and see if they are slow. If they're slow in the same manner, then I think probably the next thing I need to do is grab another reel-to-reel, play a tape on it, make sure it's the right speed, and if that's the right speed, I'm going to record a 1 kilohertz tone on it. That way then I can use an app on my phone to listen to that, and we can try and get the speed correct or as close as we can by that manner. I mean, ideally I could do with a pre-recorded tape and a pitch meter, etc., but I haven't got one. And what I'm trying to sort of do with this video is show methods that you can repair these and get this old kit up and working without the deepest knowledge of electronics and without lots and lots of spares available to you and lots of kit. I could theoretically connect a scope to it. I have got one of them, but I want to try and do it without. And I will actually connect a scope to make sure that the speed is correct, but I want to try and do it using free apps that are available, and let's see how good we can get it. So I'm going to have a look for a tape. I'll be back in a bit. So I found another tape. I just got some Glenn Miller on it and some other swing music, and I was able to find a track that was on that and both on YouTube and prove that it is running slow, pretty much by about that amount there, whatever that equates to. So let's dig into this and see if we can find the speed control. Right, I'll take this side off. Those screws are very loose. Okay, so let's press play on this. We're looking for that somewhere around there. Definitely can go too fast. Okay, so my problem here is, yes, I could try and do this by ear, but it's not something I've really... The trouble is, you know, the YouTube music, there's nothing there that I really know well enough that's stuck in my head. So let's record a tone. So I'm going to put this out the way, and we'll get set up with a generated tone, and let's adjust this. Okay, I picked the TEAC A-4000 up. It's a machine that we previously used before. Now, the idea with this is this particular machine doesn't have any adjustment on the speed control. It's done by the mains frequency. So I'm hoping that it'll be pretty good. I've got a decent tape here. This is a bit of Agfa tape that's again a bit of ex-BBC stuff that I've got hold of. You know, tends to be pretty good media. Right, so I've got the tone going into the reel-to-reel. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find myself a signal generator app. I'll be back in a second and let's try it out. Okay, so what I'm done, I've got the app on my phone, and when I'm silent it reads the correct note. So what I can say there is I know now that what I'm going to record onto the tape is correct, and the app will also be correct. So I'm just gonna why is it doing that? Now you see, that's not wonderful. Now, is that just the way it's playing back? Okay, we've got a reasonable amount of tape there. So let's take this over onto the TEAC machine and see how far away we are with things. We've got this set on small reel, low speed, power on. Okay, so there's my recording. I'm back into this app. Let's see what we get. $31. You know what? Even though it's not the most accurate of things, I don't think that's far away. Let's put this back on. And let's see what we get. I think, truthfully, I'm going to need to get a custom recorded tape. That doesn't seem far away. Okay, source. I don't think there's a lot in that. And here's how I'm going to confirm it. The speed's out on this. Let's try something we have not done with this machine yet, and let's try doing a record and play. cue that back up to the beginning. So there's my source. I believe that's in record. Okay. So at the moment, only line 1's recorded. Let's change a cable around. Right. So we've got some recording problems with this. But let's put this back into record. Okay, so we've got some record issues. We're not recording on all 4 channels. I think we've probably got the speed somewhere in the right ballpark. Yeah, we're getting somewhere with it, but not everywhere. So let us record that tone on this machine, and then we'll take it and play it back on the other reel-to-reel, and then that way we can see what that's like as far as speed, etc. So I'm gonna, you know what, I'm just gonna use this Agfa tape I've got here that I've been playing with. Put this onto low speed because the other machine's not capable of 15 inches a second. Let's lace that up. Hit record. See, even on this there's some variation on the input, output, but there we go. We'll record a little bit of this and change over and see what we get frequency wise. what I'm just going to do, just for the watch, I'm going to go back to the playback. Definitely some issues with this machine. I think I'm going to end up looking at the record and play amplifiers in it. Probably doing some recapping, possibly cleaning all the switches. So, you know, we've got somewhere with it. I am going to call it at that. We've got a speed that's somewhere closer to what it should be, but it's not right. You know what? Having listened to that warbling on that, this machine shouldn't be doing that. So I'm not actually going to go any further. So I think this is definitely a place to call an end to this part of the video. That we've got the machine to play. We've got something close to speed. However, it definitely needs work on it, and it definitely has issues. Looking at the reel-to-reel that we'll be looking at, I've took it off the bench for a minute and I picked some kit up to set the speed reliably. I've got a little tape strobe here. This is suitable for doing the 7.5 inches per second, using a light that's flickering at 50 hertz. I've also got some tape that is striped. This gives us the ability to do 15 inches per second. However, the little light that I brought here has got a little neon on it, and it's just not bright enough to even be seen, let alone by the camera. So we're going to call this part 1 of the video, and I'll be back with part 2 very shortly. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this, and please subscribe, hit the like, etc.